Go. Hi,
Hello.
everyone. Welcome to Fempreneur True Confessions podcast. We're going to be a little bit backwards today. I'm going to let Angelique go first as she's drinking.
Yeah, good
Introduce.
good job, Laura. Wait till she takes a drink and then say, "You're on." No, we had all kinds of what we like to call technical dickies today. Happy
Yeah.
Monday to everybody out there. Thank you for coming and listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here live. If you're here and you're live, please drop a comment so we know that you're here. Otherwise, it's hard to tell, but yeah. So I'm Angelique with Lady Powerhouse Solutions, and I do project and event management for female entrepreneurs who are out there lighten up the world with their passion and drive. And Lady Powerhouse helps them achieve their mission in the most authentic way possible.
Absolutely. And I'm Laura Brown, or Oda, if you don't know. And other duties as assigned was a corporate nickname, which is now what we do at our agency. We help out behind the scenes with small business owners to get the work done, give them confidence to grow, and really start to develop their team with them to help them grow confidently. So, pretty quick and easy.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
what we
And
do it.
Laura and I do really similar things. But instead of competing, we decided to help each other and collaborate, and it's been awesome. And so that's kind of where the podcast came out of, was this desire to model this collaboration over competition and the abundance mindset over scarcity mindset. And so we're here to help other women, give other women a platform to do the same, like to share their story and say, yeah, this shit works, right? Like when we decide to help each other instead of trying to climb over each other, that it actually benefits both parties. So we like to bring on guests that believe and align with that mindset, and they just come in. We're booked out through, well, months ahead of time. It's been great.
Yeah, it's nice
Today's
to
no
know.
exception.
No, we have a great guest today. And we're gonna bring her up. We're running a little behind, so I'm just gonna bring her up and introduce her. Jen Shultz is an acclaimed speaker, workshop facilitator, and recognized business owner. With over 13 years of hands on self employment experience, she intimately understands the journey of transitioning from a traditional 9 to 5 job to launching a unique service based business. Following her departure from a teaching position and facing unemployment in one of the world's most expensive cities, New York, Jen tenaciously built her own private education business tailored to students with learning disabilities. Leveraging her intuitive prowess, warm personality, and an unwavering determination to forge her solopreneur path, Jen not only succeeded but surpassed her previous income as an employee. A sought after coach, Jen specializes in guiding individuals fueled by a burning desire to break free from their 9 to 5 jobs and establish unique service based businesses of their own. Her expertise spans diverse sectors, including but not limited to nonprofit, health and wellness, real estate, arts, education, travel, animals, and food. Having empowered countless individuals to pursue their dreams and achieve their self employment success, Jen embodies the blueprint for the entrepreneurial transformation. Welcome, Jen. So
Thank
glad to have you
you.
here.
Thanks for having me. I didn't realize how long my bio is. I think that needs to be that you were reading a book.
Well, you've done a lot. It's impressive, to kind
Thank
of
you.
get it all out and, definitely. We were talking before
Where
we came on about how we knew each other. And it turns out that when I was first going into business, and realizing that I was HSP and empath, there was a group that I was involved with that Jen had been a part of for a very long time, still is, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we actually knew each other then. Whoa, my chair was gonna tip. So yeah, I would try, when you try to figure out how we know each other and realize it was a great group. It's for HSP, highly sensitive people, and yeah, it's an amazing group. It's in
Yeah.
itself. So
It is. Yeah.
That's awesome. And where are you right now, Jen?
I am in Austin, Texas.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it cold there?
Yeah, I was just walking my dog before, and it's, I don't know, maybe it's like 55, 60. For me, I'm cold. I always get cold regardless. So for me, it's cold, but it's
I'm in Central Florida and it got down. It's 62 now, but it got down and it got cold. I had to turn the heat on. I finally broke down and turned the heat on.
yeah,
So, but you look warm and cozy,
yeah.
and we're super, super glad that you're here with us,
Mm.
and was bearing with us through all the technical difficulties this morning. So, welcome, welcome. And one of the things, as you can tell from the title, we're going to start with a willingness to act. I love that. And it's it's about mindset, but we also talked about your story, and how it kind of brought you to that place. Do you want to go ahead and share that with us?
Yeah. So just for clarification, in terms of my story, in terms of how I got to even starting this business, or another part?
So, we're talking about the story that you shared. Um, you said it was 6 years ago?
Oh, in my previous romantic relationship. Is that right? That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yes. So, okay. So, I met an amazing man. We entered into a committed relationship, and this is in 2017. Um, we fell in love very quickly. And so I just turned 45 a couple of weeks ago. And that relationship, about 6, 7 years ago, that was my first ever relationship that I was actually in love with someone, my first serious relationship.
Mm,
So it was a pretty big deal.
yeah.
Um, and he was amazing, fantastic guy, treated me so well. He was a business owner himself too, so we kind of spoke the same language in a completely different field, but still, kind of on that same path. And over the course of dating, I don't know how long we'd been together, maybe 8, 9 months or something, but we knew it was serious. We were talking about marriage. We were definitely going that path. I started to really feel and experience this sense of, this actually is not right for me. This is
Mm,
not the relationship. And having that come to me was really difficult. I had to wrestle with it for several months because I thought, well, that's crazy. We're
yeah.
going to get married. Why am I feeling like this? What is this about? And I think it's a wise choice though, if you get a feeling like that, or if you're questioning something, to kind of look at all sides of the coin, because is it coming from fear? Where's it coming from? And it wouldn't go away, and it started to get quite loud. And I tend to, over the years, I've noticed this tendency, for lack of a better way of saying, is when I'm going through a challenging time, a struggle, um, something that's feeling really tough, I'll get these messages, and I may not know exactly what they mean or what I'm supposed to do with them, but this one was pretty clear.
Yeah.
It said, release him, those two words, release him. And it kept coming to me over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And months later, I made the decision to bring the relationship to a close. And it was wildly painful. I definitely slipped into a depression. Um, and I was just in a lot of pain from it. But deep down underneath that, I knew that I had made the best choice for myself. I had started to, I think that relationship was put in my path to learn from it, to
Mm,
learn, oh, here are the things I value. Here are
yeah.
the things I don't value. Do we line up in those areas? What are the things that I value? And I started learning that. And I started learning, well, he doesn't necessarily value these same things. And can I move forward with a relationship like that because these specific things are missing? Um, and the other thing was that, I even hate saying this, but had I have stayed with him and had gotten married and all that stuff, he made it very clear to me, because he was so loving and generous, that if I didn't want to work, I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be very appealing. Like, let's just be honest here. That's very appealing,
Right.
And you start to envision what life could be like that. And I had women, people in my life, whether I knew them well enough or not, share this story, and they'd be like, wow, that's so brave of you not to have stayed in that relationship. And I go, I guess so. But if my heart's not 100% in it, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why would I stay with someone if it's not there? And actually, this is making me think, 2 or 3 days ago, I had a conversation with someone, and we were talking about marriage, and we were talking about people getting married out of convenience. And I said, do you think people really do that? And he said, what? I said, do you think
Oh,
people
yeah.
really get married out of convenience? He said, absolutely. And I said, really? It's such a foreign concept to me. I don't know how anyone could do that. Marriage is such a sacred union. So I made that decision. And then, and plus I'm a business owner, and I'm dealing with this huge pain in my life, this huge, going through grief. And I'm a solopreneur and having to keep showing up for my clients. And I remember, I think the last thing I'll share with this, about this, that is so clear in my mind, is that I could be crying for so long and feel this, just such as deep pain. And I'd have to go, okay, you are sad, you are going through pain, and now you have to stop for 1 hour. I'd literally say this to myself, because now you have to shift into your pain. You can pick it up in an hour from now. And if you need to keep crying, you will. And if you need to sit in a corner, you will. But for this next hour, you need to serve and support this client. And you need to do the work that you were called here to do. And that's where I would go for that hour, and I'd be able to turn it off, which I don't know if I've ever experienced anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because I knew that my calling was so great, that if I'm here to serve and support someone else, I have to show up 100% for that person.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back too, but because when you're receiving these messages, because I myself have received those messages and ignored them. And I don't think I'm the only one out there that did that. Whether it was in a romantic relationship or a business relationship or just a situation ship. How did you know that? How did you hear the messages, right? Is it audible? Is it a feeling? Is it in your head? And then also, how did you know to trust what you were getting, the messages?
Yeah, that's a good question. At first, it was a feeling of him and I might not be aligned. It was just this feeling of maybe there's something off here. But continuing to be in the relationship, and then having really experiencing really great things, and going, oh, that was just a feeling. That's
a blip.
Right. That was just a feeling I have, like, oh, it's new, it's this, it's, all this stuff. And then I feel like I remember it was like July of 2018. We were away for 4th of July. And there was a series, I don't remember exactly, like there was a series of things that happened where we were getting together with other people. There was a lot of drinking involved, and I was like, I don't really like this. I didn't really feel comfortable with the other people. And that feeling got stronger. And we were staying in a hotel, and I couldn't sleep. I went into the bathroom with my notebook, and I started writing all of my feelings and thoughts down, and feeling like such a sense of anxiety and wanting to fight the feeling of like, this isn't right. But like literally writing it down, that like I was feeling so off. And then somewhere around that time frame, it's interesting. It's not it's not like I hear something, but I see the words. I see like the phrase or whatever it is, and I could see it and like making a visual in my mind. And I kept seeing it over and over and over again to the point where I'd be doing things in my life. Like I was on a retreat one weekend, and it was a silent retreat, I think, or not silent retreat. We were not meant to have any technology with us. So I was in the
Okay.
car. It was a full day thing. And having that alone time and that quiet time and what they were guiding us to doing and really connecting in was like, I have to do this. I have to make this decision. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's all that came to me.
No,
Well, I
you
just
did.
think that there's this, and I mentioned this before we went live, but there's such a societal pressure, a social pressure for women, especially, but for men as well, to couple. And while you were talking, my mind was like, well, where did this concept of marriage and coupling come from? And I like to read a lot of historical fiction and fantasy. And so a lot of the marriages were arranged, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And because it was an advantage to one kingdom or another.
Mhm.
And so it was a marriage of convenience.
Mhm.
And now we've evolved to the point where it's like, well, why would I couple unless there was some kind of um, feeling there that it's more of a sacred thing than a legal agreement, which
Mm-hmm.
marriage licenses, that's all about having a legal agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There's nothing in a marriage license about commitment or, like aligned values and aligned beliefs and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of a new concept, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the gay and lesbian community. It was just LGBTQ. And I'm still in the community. We've added letters, but there was a lot of marriage of convenience within that community. Families would present as a straight family, husband, wife, kids, all the things. But the behind the scenes was a completely different story. And kind of growing up in that world, I understood it. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So it was a much different view, which, I always feel
That's
blessed.
interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I think
They
it's,
would
Wow.
isn't it called a lavender marriage?
Yeah.
I just heard of that term recently, actually.
Yeah. And they still do it, which you were like, what do you mean? They've got rights and everything. And I'm like, there's still some of that, especially in the older generations. So, but they would partner up. It wouldn't necessarily be about love, but
Mm-hmm.
there are advantages to being married and to coupling up in those ways. And so that would work, and it allowed them to keep their secrets behind closed doors but present as a family, as a nuclear
Right.
family
Yeah.
that was
Well, that's
right
that's
way.
societal. It's acceptable.
Right.
It's like, well, I'm losing. I don't have the word right now, but general population.
Yeah.
Mainstream. There we go.
Mainstream. There we go.
In the
Yeah.
mainstream, that's what's acceptable.
Yeah.
I feel like I've brought up more questions than answers, but we also wanted to talk about mindset. And I think that you make a really good point, because even when you're going through a difficult time, you said this, that it's about still knowing there is so much possible that can shift, right? Like even if you have financial struggles, or you think that by making this decision, it's going to put me at a financial disadvantage,
Mm-hmm.
because it would have been really easy to go ahead and get married because you wouldn't have to work, like that's really tempting to have that time freedom and that financial security. But there's a trade. There's always a trade in any kind of marriage or any kind of agreement, right? Where you have like this contractual exchange. There's always something that it's a give and take, right? It's a two-way street. But when you talked about abundance mindset, that was one of the first things you mentioned, was going through a difficult time. Mindset seems to be what anchors us.
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and even when you feel like nothing's going to work out, but it does, and it isn't necessarily because of some magic, although I believe in magic. Um, but there's this mindset and willingness to take action. And that's one thing I learned. I had never believed in this manifesting type thing until I read The Secret. And I had heard people talk about The Secret for years because I'm a huge reader. And I was like, that's just, you can't just say stuff and it's just going to happen. And, but then I read the book and it's not about just saying stuff.
Right.
And you were mentioning that earlier.
Yeah, I said something sort of silly before we came online of like, you can't sit on a mountaintop and meditate and visualize what you want and then it magically comes to you.
Right.
You have to be taking action in the direction. And you may not know if it's the quote unquote right action. I don't really believe in that. But if you're taking action and you're willing to, in the direction of something you want, you're going to get to a next step. And that's going to bring you to a next step, and then a next step, and then a next step. You know, something I could add here too, in terms of facing a challenge um, and being willing to act is probably about, let's see, we're in end of 2024, uh, spring 2022. I went through a lot of hardships with the business. I had two clients I'd been working with at the time pretty much just berate me on the phone, curse at me, yell at me, one more so than the other one. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. And it really kind of twisted me all around, where I started to second guess myself, like maybe I am this really sucky person, maybe I am really not good, or I won't use the words that one particular person used. But and then as I was maneuvering my way through that, I started experience massive health challenges where I was fatigued every single day. And every single day fatigued. And this happened for months. This brought me into around September of that year. So 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
And so everything in my business started to slow down, my marketing, everything, because I was so tired every day. I'm getting to the point of why I'm sharing the story, though, about taking action. It's a much longer story, but to keep it short, with the second guessing, the health, everything slowing down, my mindset started to shift to, I don't think I can do this business anymore. I can't. And I hate saying I can't. I don't like saying that. But I kept having this feeling of like, I can't do this. Well, wouldn't it just be easier to go to a full-time job, to go back into that arena, to get a steady paycheck, etc.? And it started to become more appealing because I was so exhausted every day and I didn't know what was going to happen. Fast forward to now, and talking about words coming to me. A little over a year ago, towards the end of 2023, another word started to appear. Rebuild. That's what I got. Maybe R's are a theme for me. I had release him, build. And it was basically like, you're here in this world for a reason, Jen. There's a reason why you started this business. I never started a business because it's like, oh, it's cool to be in business. I felt such a deep call to do this. Mm-hmm. And you're here to serve and support specific people. If you give up now, you're giving up everything you've worked so hard for over the past 10, 11 years or so. And so I put my butt in gear and I took all of the worry and second doubt, and it kept coming to me, but I'd be like, okay, I see you, I hear you, but I'm going to keep going in this direction. Mm-hmm. With all of that said, and following that and having to shift mindsets back into, as we call it, an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset or or shift into a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, kind of quoting from Carol Dweck's work. Um, I have created things this year that I never thought I would because I was willing to take actions in the face of like, I don't think I can, but I keep getting rebuild and I have to, and I have to, and I have to. I think I went off on a tangent there, but I felt like a good one.
It was a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, so
That's
you
why we
said
like
Carol,
the
you said Carol Dweck. I have never heard of her.
Yeah. So Carol Dweck is sort of the, I'm going to use this word, the founder of what a growth versus a fixed mindset is. So that's her language, and she will give you characteristics of what it looks like to be in a growth mindset and what it looks like to be in a fixed mindset. And so I learned about her work years ago, and I remember learning about it at a time in my life where I was like, wow, I really have these characteristics of a fixed mindset, but I don't want to be there. I want to be in this growth mindset. And I feel like I definitely made strides in being I'm a growth oriented person. I'm always at this point, I shouldn't say always because I'm still human, but I'm always wanting to go to how can I, not I can't or it won't or it will never. It's but how can I? What is actually possible? What can I shift? What can I do to change this? What can I do to make this better?
So that is that like the basis of the growth versus fixed mindset?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I kind of forget. But if you look at her work, she can talk about it better than I can from
Awesome.
memory. From memory, yes.
Okay. All right. Um, so let's circle back to. Sorry, Laura. What?
Oh, I was saying we'll definitely have to look her up and make sure we reference it in here in the show notes. So we'll leave links for everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. So for mindset, when has your mindset two different things? When is your mindset? Well, we've already heard a little bit of an example of like when your mindset kind of screwed you up, right? Like you allowed your mind and other people's words to negatively impact your mindset. But now, where you are right now, if that same thing were to happen, how would you react? What would you do differently, basically?
Wow. I mean, I think because I learned so much from that, it's so clear for me that if in any challenging time that's going to come my way now, I think at this point in my life, having experienced what I just did over the past 2 to 3 years, I think age plays a role too. I keep telling everyone I just turned 45. Proud of that or not, but now it would be a matter of okay, here's the challenge. What are the choices that I'm going to make in the face of this challenge? What am I willing to do? And notice when I'm sliding downhill because it's inevitable that you'll start going downhill, but to notice that.
We all have that.
Yeah. To notice it and then be aware, oh, look, I'm doing that thing again. Oh, look, I'm sliding down here. Mm-hmm. I think it's about noticing, recognizing, because when you have that awareness, then you have the ability to make a different choice or to go in a different direction. I think that's what I would do. And you know, being, and Laura touched on this before, I'm an HSP as well, a highly sensitive person. What I've seen as one of my own personal patterns is I can spiral out. When one bad thing happens or a negative thing happens or a challenging thing happens, it's like everything is horrible. Mm-hmm. I honestly can't see myself spiraling out like that at this stage from all the different things I've experienced, which I think is pretty cool to be able to say that. Although check in with me when a challenging thing happens. Let's see.
Right. That catastrophizing. I feel like I had kind of honed that particular skill myself, you know, in my adult life. I'm in my mid 50s now, and I'm with you on that. Like, we just get to a point in our life where our we're out of fucks. I mean,
Right.
that's what it kind of boils down to me. Is that's it. And you have to earn those now. You
Yeah.
know, there's a certain level of effort and time and special things that have to go in for me to give that kind of
Yeah.
um, attention.
Yeah.
Because, you
To
know,
even
there's,
give the reaction, because
yeah,
it's like, yeah, it takes an effort at this point, whether good or bad, the reaction's there. It definitely takes a lot more to get to that even reactive point for me, around this. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to actually react. And then it's quick. The second I decide, oh, I'm getting ready to react, whichever way it's going, it's going. In that moment, I also have to decide how. I've got about split second timing for that too. So,
right.
but
And it's because we've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, we're done reacting
mhm,
now. I'm
yeah.
not going to react. I'm going to act.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So yeah. I want to give you, Jen. I want to give you a little bit of time to talk about your offer for our audience. There is a free copy uh, of the number one step to staying with your business mission. And what? Tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, it's this very short read, super easy to read PDF that I put together, man, probably about 7 years ago now. And I wanted to put together something for folks to be able to read to support them in the language that I like to use is staying with your business mission, meaning if you feel called to be in business, you feel a call, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart to stay with that. And if you feel called, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you have a mission with this business. There's a mission behind it, right? So there's the vision of it, and then there's a mission of why you're doing it, and the service and support you want to provide people. But I think kind of like how I shared in terms of what happened over the past 2 years, you could start to feel like you're moving away from that mission. How do you stay with it? And so this little mini PDF gives you that number one step. There's one really key thing to stay with it so you don't fall off of it. And that's what I share in that PDF.
Awesome. So we'll drop all that info in the show notes, but basically you'll just reach out to Jen and she will send that to you. We'll also drop her website and socials down there. And one of the things we like to do here on the podcast is have our current guest introduce next week's guest. And so our next guest is a fabulous person. And Jen, are you ready?
Yes. I don't know her name though, but I am ready to
Her
share.
name is Tammy
Oh,
Green.
now I see it. Okay, never mind.
No problem.
Give me 1 second here. Okay, so Tammy Green is a fierce leader in the world of personal development and holistic wellness. She is shaking up how we approach business and leadership. A U.S. Navy veteran turned entrepreneurial powerhouse, Tammy holds a master's degree in counseling psychology, along with more certifications than you can count. And she has spent over 20 years empowering individuals to live their best lives, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Her signature MEPS methodology, which is mentally wise, emotionally mature, physically fit, and spiritually fulfilled, guides heart-centered, purpose-driven individuals transitioning from retirement, corporate jobs, in the military into badass online entrepreneurs. She isn't just here to play, she's here to transform the business world into a new era of leading from love, where self doubt is kicked to the curb and success is measured by how much we lift each other up. As a sought after speaker and mentor, she is on a mission to ignite a global movement of radical self love and unstoppable personal and professional transformation. So, buckle up, everyone. The revolution starts here.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Jen. You know, I'm sorry it was shorter than we normally have these. We try to keep them around 30, 45 minutes, but I feel like we could have done
Mhm.
more, like
We just have
gone a
to
little
have
bit.
feedback on. That's all.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We love
So,
our repeat guests.
yeah, we would love to have you back. What we've done in the past is when we've had this like kind of ache or urge to continue the conversation, we often will have them back and they'll record it and then we'll just put it out there. But thank you again for being with us this morning. And thank you guys for being here with us. Our announcement this week is to hang in there, hang tight. We are almost there with the new website. We're almost ready to launch. In addition to that, we have some exciting things coming in 2025. So be sure that you check out the website, ftcpodcast.com. Make sure you're on the newsletter so that you can get a sneak peek and a heads up when the new things are launching. And as always, we have sponsorship opportunities there as well. So Jen, thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see you guys next week, Monday. What next week? Yes, next week, Monday. I'm trying to think like
There's
wait,
two more.
holiday.
Mondays.
Oh my God, it's
Two
December.
more Mondays.
Where
Yeah.
did November go? Like
Gone.
it was just November. But anyway, y'all have a great week and we will see you next Monday at 12 Eastern.